Hey you guys, it is Tuesday night, live cooking class. I'm already a couple minutes late. Had a crazy day. Diana said, I made this from the cookbook on Friday. It was so good and so easy. I used boneless skin or chicken thighs. Cool. I'm glad you got your cookbook. That's awesome. So I've had a total crazy day, you guys. So I'm going to grab the ingredients for dinner because I didn't have time to do that. I did have time to chop up my whole chicken, so it's like ready to go, but did not get all the other stuff. So, hey Jackie. So just bear with me as I grab the rest of the ingredients, just in case you're unaware. This recipe is on page 99 of my cookbook. If you don't have it yet, the link is down below. The sale is still going on for the cookbook, so if you're interested in that, click on the link. All right, so I just got to get some seasonings together here. It was a crazy, crazy day. Okay, I got these two. I need basil. It is planting season, you guys, so I was out in the garden all day long. Hey, Rhonda, which is why I'm probably going to be sunburned at the end of the day, but it's okay. Paprika. Did I fill my shaker? Probably not. Nope. Sammy, if you're watching this, it's time to come fill up my spice shakers now, okay? It's been too long. It's been like 3 years. Apparently, I can't get it done by myself, you guys, so... one of my very closest friends here locally, she loves filling spice shakers, and so it's kind of our thing. She needs to come for a visit. Okay, healthy salt. Yeah, that might be enough. I'll bring a backup just in case. This stuff's really good salt, you guys. All right. I think I got everything. I have the windows open, so it's spring, so you can hear lots of farm noises in the background. They are not in my house currently, so just know that. All right. So I'm just going to take a little container. We're going to put our breading right in here. If I was going to have more time, I was actually going to take some pork. What are they called? Oh, is it grits? No. The stuff you get when you make lard and it's left on over. Anyway, cracklins, pork cracklins. I was going to take some pork cracklins and I was going to blend them up in my food processor and put those on the outside of the chicken because I think that would be absolutely delicious. But I ran out of time, so we're just going to stick to the recipe. Hey, Bethany.
I don't want you to tell me this.
Uh-oh, what? I love it when conversations start out like that. What?
Something that's on here is a pot.
What is it? You brought it into the house and okay.
It's a black thing.
Okay.
Hops.
It's a no. Is it an amphibian? Does it have scales? Is it slimy?
No, it doesn't.
Does it have hair?
No, it has two things going like this.
Okay. Is it a bug?
It's a bug.
Okay, then doesn't okay. Bugs, amphibians, like that stuff doesn't come in my house, remember? Mom doesn't like those.
It has black eyes.
Okay.
And it has I don't know what heck it. And it was in the
You got close enough to see what colored eyes it has?
It has black eyes.
Okay. Well,
like its skin.
Okay.
And it has jumping legs.
Oh, so it's a cricket? Oh, there you go. It's a cricket, guys. Okay. So listen, you need to take that back outside. Okay, because if it jumps out of your box and like goes underneath, like
it's not gonna jump.
No. Listen, no. Okay, listen. If it gets out of the box and it goes underneath my cabinets, then we're gonna have a cricket in our house and it's gonna make a noise all the time. It's gonna drive all of us nuts and we'll never be able to get it. So until it dies, it's slowly.
It doesn't make any noise.
Okay, well right now it's not because it's scared. They only make noise when they're happy. Okay, I love you, but go take the cricket outside.
I don't know if I touched it or not.
Okay, well, go outside and open it and find out.
Okay.
All right, back to cooking, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 425 degrees.
So where's the cricket on?
Okay, well, you go outside and you find out.
What is it?
And I love you very much, even with a cricket. Just don't bring it back in, please.
Oh. It's on my inside.
Okay. So the first ingredient on the list is a breadcrumbs. So I have sourdough breadcrumbs, but I do want to say that anybody, I think she will make a great debater. I feel really bad for her husband, actually, Jackie. It's not even funny because she will sit there and debate you until she like has no breath left. Even if it's like so apparent that she is incorrect. Oh no. No, she's going to die on the hill, whether it's a mountain or very, very small and she just thinks it's a mountain. What I was going to say is that my recipe calls for breadcrumbs. I know I do have a recipe for grain-free bread. So if anybody is interested in that recipe for grain-free bread, comment down below. It's not my recipe, but I am willing to read it live for those of you would like to have breaded chicken that's grain-free. Okay, so this is the breadcrumbs from sourdough I made over the weekend. And I just let it dry out and then put it in the blender. Actually, food processor. I think there's a couple of larger pieces in there. So I have 2 whole chickens in here. I'm going to make a whole bunch because I want some for tomorrow and not have to worry about things. So I'm going to go ahead and double the ingredients that the recipe calls for. I will read it off in just a little bit, okay, Rhonda? I promise. I'm going to go ahead and double the ingredients.
Let's need a lid. It is a soda lid.
Was it a cricket?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to fry and cut it out.
Okay.
Coffee noodle.
Anyway, I thought that pork cracklings would be really good for this use as well. Now, I've never done that, but I think it would be good. So I'm just going to double the amount. But if you're just making one chicken, one cup should be enough. But I'm going to be feeding a bunch of people who are going to eat this up like crazy. And usually I do this in a Ziploc bag. I put all my mixture in a Ziploc bag and shake it, but Mama's all out of Ziploc bags, so we're just going to use a container to coat it. Okay, it's outside. Oh, okay, here it comes. Okay. Yeah, at least it's in a jar. Yep, that is definitely, yes, that is definitely a cricket. Are you going to name it?
Yes, I
You
am.
look so hot. You've been playing, huh?
Yes.
Running through the field.
No.
Where'd you find the cricket?
Oh, inside of the greenhouse.
Oh, he
Oh,
likes
what?
to live in my greenhouse, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's hot in there. You know how hot it is in there? Right now it's 102 to the greenhouse.
We found 2 in there.
You've been in there, huh? Because it's 102 and you're soaked in sweat. It's hot. You should get a t-shirt on.
I know.
Yeah, okay. I'm right on that. Did you guys hear that? I was right on that. Okay.
And the lid is black.
Okay. So Mommy's going to cook now, so I need you to take that out of the kitchen. Okay?
Mom,
Yes, babe.
keep it hot, guys.
Well, that means you're going to kill it slowly. And I really, if you love that cricket, then you would let it go. You can have it for tonight, and then we'll release it when you go to bed, okay? Because it's not nice to die slowly. That's not a nice death.
I know.
Okay?
I love it.
All right.
When we are watching the movie.
1 cup of breadcrumbs. Like I said, I'm doubling this, so ignore the extra scoop. You name Frank. Okay, take him on outside. The next is healthy salt. We need 2 teaspoons. 1 teaspoon, sorry, of healthy salt, because I'm doubling it. 1 teaspoon of healthy salt for just a single recipe. Healthy salt is colored salt. If you're not aware, if you're new to the term of healthy salt, any salt that is colored. This is pink Himalayan, but you could use Celtic sea salt. That's like a grayer color. There's a whole bunch of brands in the market. Just make sure it has color. And the reason why is because the color in the salt is the minerals that help your body handle the salt properly. When you're eating and consuming white table salt, it's basically this salt, but it's been stripped of all the minerals.
Do crickets like wild?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Okay. Sounds good. Go have fun. Next ingredient is paprika. Okay. 1 teaspoon of paprika. And I usually have this in a shaker, but like I said, my shaker is completely empty, so you could do smoked paprika too if you wanted, like a smoky flavor. Half of a teaspoon of black pepper. Where's my pepper? Hang on. The pepper may or may not be missing, so we're just going to move on. Let's see. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm going to use garlic granules. Powder does not last very long in my kitchen. Half of a teaspoon. You don't have a Cricut, do you, to show me?
No.
Oh, good. Onion powder is the next ingredient. This is why powders don't last long in my kitchen. The humidity here is horrible, so I'm going to just kind of estimate on this. Another half a teaspoon going into the mix. And I will read that grain-free bread recipe in just a minute, just in case you are grain-free and you need an alternative for bread so you could have yummy, crunchy, oh, it's so good. I use it for my stuffing recipe as well inside my cookbook for the Thanksgiving stuffing. If we're going to do a grain-free holiday, it's perfect. Okay, let's see, half of a teaspoon of basil. We've got half of a teaspoon of parsley. Looking forward to like fresh herbs coming up in my garden. That would be really, really nice. And then half of a teaspoon of oregano. And like I said, I have the oven that's preheated to 425 at this point. Hasn't beeped yet, but we're working on it. I'm going to get out a nice big pan to put our coated chicken on. Okay. And lard. Alright, oh, there it is. So we're going to go ahead and coat the pan. It's a semi-solid. This has been into the refrigerator, so it's more like a solid. And the reason why we use semi-solids to coat our pans with and for cooking is because those remain stable when they are heated. They're rancid and they're not formed into things that cause free radical damage within the body. The only semi-solid that we don't consume is things like Crisco. If you read the ingredients and Google them, you won't either. But basically, that is not a true traditional semi-solid fat. It's what they replaced things like lard and tallow with. All right, so I'm just going to mix this on up. This is the coating. Oh, it smells so good. Last time we had this was like out of this world amazing. So I'm going to coat it and get in the oven, and then we're going to read the grain-free recipe. So this chicken is our home grown chicken and butchered. So the cuts are going to be a little bit different than what you guys are used to into the store. If you guys are interested in trying to grow your own meat, I do have videos up here on the channel about that. It's on a whole playlist. We are about a week away from getting our chicks to start the whole process all over again. Also, I do have all of my cavity videos up on playlist if you guys are interested in that. I've been trying to, because I have so many videos that I've been unaware that I've had so many videos. So people have a hard time wading through that many videos. And so this chicken is also wet, I should add. Usually if it's not still wet, I will add butter, like melted butter to each piece to help the breadcrumbs and seasoning stick. But this is wet. So I washed it. It thawed out and then I washed it into the sink. So no need for butter this time. But usually I do coat each piece in butter, melted butter, and then put it into a bag full of this crumb mixture. Shake it around and then it's ready to go. How's the mulching going, Grace?
Good. Well, we're stopping to watch movies.
Okay, but how far did you guys get?
Pretty far.
Okay, good. I had the kids working on 6 loads. Good job. I had the kids working on mulching the garden. We're using the waste, basically, out of the goat stalls from the winter. So all the hay and stuff that they didn't eat that's on the ground. That's all I'm going to talk about because we're cooking. Anyway, it makes a really, really great mulch and fertilizer all in one. So it's going right into the garden. I'm hoping that if I'm really on top of it on mulching this year, that my weeds are a lot less. That's my hope anyway. I also installed a drip system last year in my garden all by myself. It was my first time doing it. And that was also a game changer because last year we had a drought. We've been in a drought, although this spring we've been getting lots of rain. All last week was all rain. But and when you're in a drought, if you only water your garden plants and not the area around it, then the weeds only grow right around your garden plants and not in your walkways. So anyway, that was well worth the time and the investment. I think it was around $250, I think, in parts and stuff that I bought online. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands because I have to get another pan. This one's full. And then we're going to read off that grain-free stuff in just a second. I've got about 4 more pieces of chicken to coat. I think 4, maybe more like 6. But we're coming up to the end, and then we're going to read off that grain-free recipe.
I let it go and let it chew.
Okay. She knows. You got pumpkins done?
Yep.
Good job. Thank you. You guys gonna go put a movie on?
Yep.
I do appreciate. Did you water them? Did you water the pumpkins? Okay.
Oh, I put them in the greenhouse.
Good job. It's so nice to have capable children that they can be doing that while I'm cooking. Anyway, I'm hoping that if we mulch like crazy, that our weeds will be less this year. That's what I'm hoping. So. We mulched last year, but I used all straw. And, you know, when we used to live in town, that worked awesome. But when we moved to the country, now we have like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds out here. Because we're not in town where other people's houses block that type of wind. And so last year I lost, like, I put down, I don't even know how many bales. 10 bales or something of straw. And within like 2 weeks it had all blown to one side and or blown out of the garden, even though I have a fence. So I was really feeling like I blew my money away, if you know what I mean. So this year it's actually a whole different story because the mulch we're putting on the top is wet. So it can't just blow away. So that's awesome. So anyway, I'm hoping that since it stays put, that we have less weeds. I also noticed, because last fall we mulched the garden with some goat waste and stall waste. I noticed there's a ton more earthworms. Like, I really feel like we're really building our soil health in there, which is so cool to witness, you know, moving to a farm that hasn't had anyone on it in like 30 to 40 years and, you know, no real natural input for healthy soil. Kind of progressing into a more nutrient-dense situation is kind of cool. All right. I'm just going to sprinkle what's left. There's just a little bit left. Onto my other pan over here. There we go. Washing my hands. I'm going to get that recipe in. It's life-changing for those of you who are grain-free. All right. I'm looking for my towel and it was like behind you guys. All right, checking comments and then I'm going to grab that recipe. Okay, we're good. We're caught up. Rhonda, I'm going to read that recipe for you. And I know Kathy will want the recipe as well. But this looks so good, you guys. Look at this. So good. It's going to go into the oven at 425 here in just a minute when it preheats. And it's going to bake for 25 to 35 minutes depending on the cut of your chicken. All right, let me get out my old cookbook. that I used to use before I made my own cookbook. I've still kept it just in case I find errors inside my cookbook. But I still have the original. So let me see what I can do here. All right. So there was like this coconut flour recipe. It's been copyrighted. But my friend gave me this. And they have like cake recipes and stuff in here that use coconut flour. And I'm pretty sure this is where that recipe was. Let's see. Maybe that's not where it's at. Oh, I know. That was the drop biscuits recipe. They have a drop biscuits recipe that's actually really good. It's also grain-free. So I'm hoping that I have the other one in here. And that's not on my phone, because obviously I won't be able to look that up live. If it's not in here and it's on my phone, then I'll post it later. Let me just see what I got here. Pretty sure it's in here though. Zucchini bread, sourdough. But I've used, once I find the recipe, I have used the recipe. Here we go. I have used this recipe for grain-free. I've taken my recipe for the Thanksgiving stuffing that's inside my cookbook. It's towards the end of the cookbook. And there's a link down below for my cookbook. I've taken my cookbook recipe because it just calls for a certain amount of bread. And then I've made one of these loaves and then just done the same process. And it's amazing. People can't even tell the difference. This one is actually, I have two recipes. I have one that's technically keto. Let me see. I'm trying to remember the exact one that I used last year. No, it's not that one. Okay. So the one I to you is the coconut almond bread. This is grain-free to still be able to do breading on chicken and everything else. So the ingredients are 3/4 of a cup of coconut flour, 1 cup of almond flour, 1/2 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of butter that's all been melted, 8 eggs, 1 tablespoon of honey, which sometimes I don't put the honey in, 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. You're going to want the raw Bragg's apple cider vinegar, 3/4 teaspoon of healthy salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So all of that would be gaps except for the baking powder. So I don't know, I don't think I mentioned this inside my cookbook, but if you need to alter a recipe that everything into the recipe is fine except for baking powder to be on the GAPS diet, all you have to do is use baking soda and just add a tiny little bit of lemon juice, okay? So put your baking soda in, mix it up, put lemon juice in, like a teaspoon at the most. Mix it up and it all starts to get bubbly and rise. I did it all the time when we were on the GAPS diet. Totally gets you through because you can't have baking powder on the GAPS diet. Okay, so basically you mix all of that and you pour it in a greased pan for bread. And then preheat your oven to 300 degrees and bake for about an hour. And that's that one. And that one I've used year after year after year for grain-free stuff. And this recipe could totally be GAPS. You guys, I just blow your mind. Is your mind blown? Could totally be using that bread. And you would bake it, cool it, slice it, and then put it in your food processor to make it into crumbs, let it dry out, and then it'd be ready to go right on your bread. Right on your chicken, I mean. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the oven. So I skipped the pepper, just for the record. I couldn't find it. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to put my cookbook away. But yeah, that is the recipe I've used year after year after year. Because we are on the GAPS diet for 2 holidays. So you need that so that you actually can live through the GAPS diet without feeling left out of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and make my side next. I'm going to be doing roasted carrots and potato slices. So I'm going to wipe this counter off and we're going to get started on chopping all up, getting those seasoned and getting those into the oven. I'm just thinking like Kathy's mind is exploding over there right now. Kathy's like, oh my gosh, gaps, potlucks, I can take something like that and people are going to go nuts. It's awesome. It's the little things when you're on the GAPS diet for sure. All right, there's my new cutting board, nice and clean. I'm going to grab me some carrots. Be right back. Gotta wash them. Thank God Azure is coming next week. There will be no live cooking class next week because my Azure order is coming in. But we'll catch up another time. I will try and get my Azure haul video out sooner than this last month. What happened was I was having a heck of a time with my editing software. Editing that Azure video I last put up. And it was like every time I edit something, I'd save it. It wasn't saving it. And my life is so crazy right now, you guys, that I ended up, not intentionally, but I ended up walking away from it because I just couldn't. I didn't have the time and I was getting so frustrated and I put the time into it and then it would delete it all anyway. And so it took me like 2 weeks to get that video out. So I'm hoping that next week's video comes out faster. No promises on that. We'll see. But I'm going to try my best. It's just sometimes editing is a nightmare. And yeah. That one was pretty crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to chop these up. But that's going to be next Tuesday, so no class next Tuesday. We're going to also be switching over to more summer type meals, you guys, because my life, like I said, is crazy right now. I've got tons of plants and stuff to get into the garden. I've got meat bird chicks showing up next week. We've got goats that are in full milk, and I've been all sorts of cheeses and everything like crazy. And so I'm basically running 100 miles an hour unless I'm asleep. And so I am going to need some quicker meals this next month. So for those of you guys who work, maybe you don't have a lot of time to cook some of these meals that I show here on the channel, you are going to appreciate the cooking class videos that are coming up for the month of June and July, August, and probably September. There's going to be some crock pot meals where we make it here. We fill the crock pot together and we start it, and then it cooks overnight and we all get to enjoy it the next day. Just stuff like that. It's going to have to be quicker meals. And typically in the summer, as it gets hotter here, I try not to use my oven at all. So a lot of my baking type meals will be going away. That's what happened last year as well. If you've been with the channel for a while, I did have an oven, a little countertop oven that I stuck outside and plugged on in, which is a great idea, guys. But it broke. I went to go pull it out of storage and I don't know if it fell off of the shelf or what exactly happened, but it is with us no more. Okay, how many eggs were in the grain-free recipe? That was 8. 8 eggs. I just love that one. I just love it. Like it's just, it makes life grain-free totally doable. It's just a good thing. The drop biscuits in that one is really good as well. I used those and I added, when we weren't on GAPS, I added cheddar cheese to make it like cheddar cheese and bacon drop biscuits. So good. But that one is not GAPS because the cheese. But that little booklet got us through the GAPS diet because it's all coconut flour recipes. So birthday cakes and cookies and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, but yeah, so those changes are going to be coming to the meals. You guys will notice that it's just going to be kind of, I don't want to say dump and go because then that sounds like processed meals, but it's going to be from scratch, just faster, no oven type cooking, which I know the summer gets busy for a lot of people. Some people have their kids in sports and stuff that go through the summer. I'm not the only person. But my busyness comes from trying to grow as much food as possible. So that gets kind of nuts. We're almost done with carrots. I'm almost out of carrots. I'm so happy Azure's coming next week. I'm getting some other stuff too. I altered my cake recipe inside my cookbook. I have a grain-free, oh, it's brownie. Grain-free brownie recipe in there. And we went to this function and you're supposed to bring a snack. So I made the brownies, but I added an extra egg. And then I know that one of Mom's there, her son is dairy intolerant. And so instead of using butter in the recipe, I used that palm fruit shortening. And it turned out so good. It turned out like a cake. Oh, another thing. That palm fruit shortening that I buy from Azure, the organic palm fruit shortening, you can totally look up a recipe for Crisco frosting. But instead of using Crisco, use the organic palm fruit shortening, and it turns out perfect. It's amazing. Okay, so now I gotta go grab the potatoes for the next, I could probably put a few in there, for the next chopping episode. Kind of think outside the box a lot of times when it comes to things dealing with food allergies. All right, I just gotta go rinse these off. They're nice, yummy yellow potatoes. All right, I'm just going to chop these into wedges and get them, actually maybe I'll do more like French fries, and get them over here on the sheet, and then we're going to season this, and in the oven it's going to go. 425 is a great temperature to not only bake the chicken, but also your French fries or carrot fries. Carrot fries are pretty much a regular thing. Love the seasoning of them. And love that it's, you know, helps to stretch potatoes, but also lowers the carbs a little bit for those of us who don't want to eat a whole bunch of carbs. The other ones are going to have to go in their own pan because this one's getting too full. Okay, so I'm going to go grab my coconut oil. You could totally cover these in tallow too if you wanted. I'm not a tallow person. I just don't like the flavor, so I'm going to go ahead and just use coconut oil. And I don't measure this out. I'm just kind of doing a couple of dollops. This is going to melt and then kind of like fry the carrots and stuff in it. Sprinkle of salt. And, oh, paprika, which I still don't have in the container. Sammy, if you're watching, it's time to come over and fill my containers. All right, paprika. You could do smoked paprika if you wanted to. And then a little bit of garlic granules. Okay, that one's ready to go in. That's how easy it is to season up French fries or carrot fries for the oven. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Maybe I got to lower the rack down. Hang on one second. Ah, this chicken smells amazing already. Jeez. Okay. I'm going to grab one more smaller pan for the rest of the potatoes. Or maybe a normal size one. All of my small ones are apparently full somewhere. All right, we're going to lard up this pan as well. I go heavy on the lard when I'm making French fries because it also helps to contribute to the oil that's in the pan that helps to kind of fry the potatoes up so they're nice and crispy. I'm gonna go wash my hands. We want to make sure we're using that healthy, traditional fat that's a semi-solid. Butter, coconut oil, goose fat, duck fat, lard, tallow, all good options. Okay. Well, let's get it done. You can also use rutabagas. My rest of my family won't eat those anymore. But when we were on the GAPS diet, man, that was the cat's meow. Because you can't have potatoes on the GAPS diet. And so they loved acorn squash on the GAPS diet. They loved rutabaga French fries. Not so much anymore. They'll still eat my carrot fries. They love those. So. And the GAPS diet isn't a diet that you're supposed to stay on your whole life anyway. You stay on for your healing and you hopefully heal and move forward. There are some people that do have to stay on it, but I was thankful that we got our healing and we could come off and enjoy things like bread again, you know, without having horrible rashes and other side effects I won't talk about around food. All right. I'm hoping the kids are enjoying their movie over there. They've worked hard. It's been a hard day today. Hauling mulch and all sorts of stuff. And it's warm here, but it's super hot into the greenhouse. I'm gonna have to get a shade cloth if I plan on growing in that thing all year round because, oh my, it's over 100 degrees in there today. And I think it was only like 80 something outside, so. It typically stays about 20 degrees warmer than the outside temperature, which is great in the winter and the spring and in the fall, but not so much in the summer if you're a human, so. And you're alive. You're human and you're alive. It's not good. All right, same seasoning here. A little bit of paprika. There it goes. So we go in there and we just sweat when we have to be in there. It's got roll-up sides and everything, but it still gets quite warm. That was garlic powder. Sorry, I'm not telling you guys what I'm doing. And a sprinkle of healthy salt. And this one's ready to go in the oven. Okay, that's all there is to dinner. That was fast. Okay, anybody have any questions or things you want to talk about? I'm gonna check comments. Yeah, okay, hang on one second. I'm gonna get to you, Jackie. We already had 90 degrees on Mother's Day, so I think it's going to be a very long, hot summer. Yes, I'm saying palm fruit shortening. Here, I'll get it out. So I started buying this 3 months ago from Azure Standard. It is an approved fat by the Weston A. Price Foundation. It is organic palm fruit shortening from Azure Standard. That's what it looks like. It's kind of creamy. And I bought this because about 2 years ago, when inflation started going through the roof, I had a friend say to me with her family that they couldn't afford butter anymore. And so she was going to limit butter to things like on top of your vegetables, etc., and switch all of her baking stuff over to palm fruit shortening. And fast forward 2 years, now butter is about $100 a case for grass-fed organic. And for me, we were going through at least half of a case a month, so about $50 to $60 worth of butter. And so I said, well, what's the harm in switching to another healthy fat and putting this in all of my baking? So I switched all of my grain-free baking over to this. I switched my sourdough over to this, and the loaves are like so much softer. There's like so much more moisture into anything I put this in. It's just absolutely amazing. So anyway, this is cheaper than butter. So it's like $4 a pound, I think, or $3.50 for a 4-pound container. That's George. So I think it's about $3.50 to $4 a pound for this in a 4-pound size. And then there's also a huge box, which I bought last month, which is a 33-pound box that should get me all the way through Christmas. And it stays good till then. It expires like January, I think, of next year. And that was down to $2 a pound. So way cheaper than butter. So anyway, I'm still putting butter on all of my bread. I'm still putting butter on all of the things. Still doing all of the butter. So nobody get me wrong. I'm not cutting butter out of my family's diet. I would rather do a lot of other things than do that. But this is great substitute for butter for baking. You can also saute in it, but I've never done that because I love butter flavored onions and butter flavored meat, and this doesn't have a flavor. Yes, the ratio is exactly the same. So this is like a creamy, I don't want to say Crisco because everybody hates Crisco because it's bad for you. This is like a whipped frosting. Like if you've ever been to someone's wedding where like the cake had like thick whipped frosting, that's the consistency of this stuff at room temperature. And it stores at room temperature. It doesn't need refrigeration, doesn't need anything special, just sits right on your pantry shelf. So this is an Azure Standard product. Check it out. Just get on their website and type in palm fruit shortening and up it'll come. So it comes, like I said, 4 pounds or a 33-pound box. But it makes some of those grain-free recipes that you have to have if you're grain-free or have dietary restrictions or you're gluten intolerant, moist. So a lot of complaints from the coconut flour world is that everything is so dry, like it's just dry everything. I can't get anything to be moist anymore. And when I tried that instead, total moisture, which is out of this world. Now I will say Azure's coconut oil is cheaper than the palm fruit shortening, but you can't use coconut oil in absolutely everything. Azure's price on coconut oil has actually gone way down. It was close to $20 about 2 years ago, and we're down to $16 and something. So, and that's for a whole gallon. This is the stuff you would cook with. So that's a good deal. Also, Azure, you guys, I'm like a little Azure commercial. Azure has started canning their own canned vegetables and fruits. So it's going to be a typical can for right now. They did say that they're going to switch over to glass at some point. Right now it's just in aluminum cans. But the price is unreal, you guys. The price for 1 can of organic vegetables is $1.97. So that's a really good deal. And that's without buying a whole case. Now, if you buy a whole case, the price goes down even more. So it's a super good deal. They also just started selling their own line of condiments. So if you're interested in that, ketchup, mustard, Dijon mustard, all of the things. And they have all that up on their website. And then the last thing that I'm so excited about is Azure Standard is making their own canning jars. I haven't seen if those are out yet because I've already spent all of my budget money in my cart right now. But I do plan to check and see if they have their canning jars out yet because they were not going to release them to the public for sale until their jar could go through a 100-degree heat shock without shattering, which no other jar on the market right now can do that. So I'm super excited about that. If you're an avid canner like I am, you guys can see my pantry right there. I've been canning for a while and I've noticed that the new jars do not last more than maybe 2 seasons if you are very, very lucky. The glass has gotten extremely thin on canning jars. If you ever are at a garage sale and there's a whole thing of, I call them historic looking canning jars, and you hold the two, you will feel the difference. The glass is much, much thicker. The antique one is much, much heavier, and it's been used for 100 years and hasn't shattered yet. So there's just something to the old style, heavy duty canning jar. So I'm excited about that. I plan to buy some of those up because I can't stand the new canning jars. Like I said, they may last 1 to 2 seasons for me before they crack or explode inside the canner. And so it's not really worth the money when you're investing that and you can't use it for at least 3 to 5 years, you know. This is an old one. Golden Harvest. I drink out of them too. So anyway, that's the update on Azure. Tons of great stuff coming up there. And if you've never ordered from Azure, my link's down below. If you click on that, then I'll get a credit, which I really, really appreciate. And then what ends up happening is when you set up your account, because you clicked on my link, they're going to give you a special code that you can share with all of your friends. And when your friends make their first order of at least $100, you get $25 off of your next order. So it can add up quickly, especially if you know a ton of people who are interested in healthy, clean food. Let's see, other links down below are my cookbook, as I mentioned before. My meal plans, I have meal plans if you're headed into full GAPS or considering the GAPS diet. I've got a whole meal plan all with a whole grocery list and everything down below. I also have a tooth healing meal plan as well if you're in that journey with me. That's down below. Also links to buy emu oil, cod liver oil, and let's see what else do they sell. Oh, liver. That's all down below. That's one link for that company. Amazing company. And then also down below is the Soleil salt water for the remineralization of your teeth. I do not get anything on that link. That's just a link that I want to pass along with you guys. I had tried to work out an affiliate situation with them, and they just kind of stunk, to be honest. So I had started it up, and I ended up dropping it. I still love their product, though. So that link is down below. I had a question from somebody about emu oil this week. What was that? Oh, I know what it is. Hang on one second. So this is emu oil. I just ordered a ton because I had something major happen to one of my teeth that I am trying to heal. And I need some more of this. So anyway, this is the Walkabout brand. This is one of the only emu oils on the market that's actually edible because you eat it. That was one of the questions I had was, what do you do with the emu oil? Do you just rub it on your teeth? What do? You eat it. It's a supplement. Anyway, Walkabout is a really, really great brand. The emus are out on pasture, so it's nutrient dense. And the question I had come in this week was somebody who either A, is choosing not to take cod liver oil because of the great cod liver oil debate, or B, is dairy intolerant. So my suggestion to that mom that happened to be dairy intolerant is to go grab some emu oil. Because emu oil is the highest source of vitamin K2, MK4 on the planet, which people who have sensitive teeth cavities, any sort of problem with your teeth, you're low in vitamin K2, MK4. And you want to make sure you're getting it from a food source, not from a capsule. So anyway, the link for the company that sells this is down below. It's called perfectsupplements.com. You like the Soleil water, just not the deal they would make you right. So I love that company, totally do. It's just that the setup they had with me being an affiliate was they sent me a link, but then every 30 days I have to remember to call them back and another link. And for me, it's not worth it. I'd rather just tell you guys, here's the product, go shop. Because if I did that, then every single month, not only do I have to remember to contact them, but then I have to remember to make sure I switch my link in every single video on this entire channel. So I would literally have to go through hundreds of videos every single month just to have an affiliate link and maybe make $1. So just not worth my time. So I quit, but I love the company. I love the product. That's why it's still down below. Would stand behind them 1,000%. I just wish they had it set up better for people who wanted to be an affiliate and say, hey, this is a really cool product. But I don't mind sharing products that I don't earn a penny from, okay? Rhonda says, I love the cookbook and use it all the time. Thank you so much. I shipped another one out today. It was good. It was good. And I keep coming up with new recipes, and I'm like, I'm not writing another cookbook. I am not writing another cookbook. I am not writing another cookbook. This is a winter project. This is like, yeah, winter for sure. Not right now. But anyway, so that's emu oil. And like I said, the link's down below to Perfect Supplements. They're an amazing company. They test all of their products for glyphosate, and they guarantee that they are glyphosate free. All of the liver powder that you buy off of there or any of the other supplements are all tested for glyphosate. The liver powder comes from cows that are grass-fed, and it's just amazing. So that's a great source of liver. And then if you click the drop down menu and click brands we trust, that's where you're going to find the Walkabout Emu oil, because it's a Walkabout product, not a Perfect Supplements product. Same thing with the cod liver oil. That's under the brands we trust as well on their website. So go check it out. It's down in the description box. I also have my address on there if you want to send me something. What else do I have on there? My email, if you want to email me. And I think that's all. It's down there. So anyway, thanks for joining me, you guys. This is going to bake 25 minutes. Should be almost there. And then I'm going to temp it to make sure it's at least 165 degrees, which is the safe temperature for chicken. And once like the thighs reach that, then I'll pull everything out. You just want to make sure, because I chop the breast into small pieces. You just want to make sure the largest, thickest piece of all of your chicken is at least 165 degrees. And then you're good to go. So that is tonight's meal. Like I said, no class next week. My Azure order is coming. But we'll catch up another time. Okay, you guys? You guys have a great night. Thanks for jumping on with me.